Hey everyone. The other day, as of the release of this video, I put out a hard rock arrangement of ACab by Sam Stone on my Instagram page. Like I said in that post, it was supposed to be a full band cover, but I just couldn't get a vocal take that I liked, so I figured I'd just finish the arrangement as is and talk about how I got it to where it is now. First off, the song is in E minor, but it's played in D standard, so I have my guitar and bass tuned D, G, C, F, A, D. I figured that it would be interesting to have the last chord for the loop be lower than the first, so that would have this, rise to restart the loop, and I like how it came out. The loop is E minor, C, G, and D, but it's all played as power chords, so it's probably better to think of it as E5, C5, and so on and so forth. And the drums are just programmed with the stock Ableton sound, specifically the dry session kit, with a little bit of saturation and reverb on some parts. I'll get to that in a moment. The guitars are double tracked and panned outwards about halfway so that it sounds larger, which is pretty standard procedure there when recording guitars. Generally you want to do that because doing two separate takes will let the minor differences in each of them sort of congeal together and just makes it all sound much bigger, in my opinion. But I ran them both through functionally the same effect chain with some pretty minor differences between them, so I'm only going to go over one of them. First, I used a distorted amp simulator, just one of the stock Ableton ones, and the Clevgrand reamp to get the distortion I wanted, since I was working directly from a clean DI tone. After that was some EQ to tame all the frequencies that I didn't really want to be too prominent, then some compression, and then a little bit more EQ. This last bit of EQ was done in the vein of early metalcore guitar tones like Attack Attack or Safe as Just a Shadow era Ice Nine Kills, where the mid-range gets scooped to make room for the vocals. After all that was done, I just sent both tracks to a group and used a glue compressor to make them slot together a bit nicer. The bass was only tracked once, and I kept it straightforward compositionally. If you know me outside of this sphere of the internet, you know that I love to improvise and do all these little fills when I'm playing bass, but I had to rein myself in here because it just didn't feel right for this arrangement. The signal was split into 3 chains for the highs, mids, and lows. The lows were kept pretty clean since I wanted to keep that punch, just added a little bit of saturation and compression there, nothing too crazy. The mids, I initially wanted to distort using the Chow DSP Build Your Own Distortion plugin because I love that thing and I've used it for some pretty good bass tones in the past, if I do say so myself. But it just didn't feel right here, so I just put it through stock Ableton Overdrive and Drum Bus plugin to get a bit of that distortion without destabilizing it too much. But the highs, where we get a bit spicy, it's a pretty severe cut from the EQ, and the distortion, which is just a more violent version of the plugin I used for the mids, is pretty strong, so it's like this layer of static over the top of the bass that I think worked pretty well for the track. After all of those are done, I threw a noise gate down to tackle this clicky sound that I could hear in the recording. That didn't work, but it's masked pretty well in the full thing, so I think it's fine. There's also the EQ, which is pretty heavy and a pretty severe cut around the 800 to 1.2k mark, because I felt like the bass was taking up a bit too much space without it. That swooping sound that you can hear at the start was made by taking one of the tom hits, adding a ton of reverb to it, then bouncing it out and reversing it to lead into that song. This is where the vocals would have also started, and they do in the original song as a sort of vocal cold open. So I added that fill to, fill in the space because I wasn't doing vocals. And that's basically everything that I did for this arrangement, save for some, light saturation reverb on the drums like I mentioned earlier. Thank you for watching if you've gotten this far. Please go listen to the original by Sam Stone, which is in the description, and let me know if you want more production breakdowns just like this.